Right, so I'm back again. Today I think I'm actually going to set it up, and I've looked into how to use the canvas properly. So I've decided that just to demonstrate, illustrate it a bit better, is that I'm going to use a scene. Should have checked up before first. And in that scene we have layers. In layers we have actors. And in the actors we have properties. So we're going to set up the scene first today, and layers, actors, and eventually we'll get into properties. If you've been following along and you've had problems with this in Safari, you might need to have vars instead of lets, just because it seems that in JavaScript on Safari, because JavaScript uses an interpreter, there's like a table that it looks up from, and it seems that Safari automatically sets some variable names, so it might conflict with what already exists, which would throw a syntax error, for instance, saying that you cannot declare this variable because it already exists, even though it's the first time it's appeared in your code. I'm also going to restructure this because we need an editor as well. I'll start by doing that. I'm going to change this from client to game client. I'm going to change this from main to game server, which also means I need to go into game server, and I need to, some of these aren't going to exist anymore, and we need to go to the top and, oh, it didn't open it up, and we've got this main, so now we're going to put game server, so that should work now, and index client is no longer client, it's game client. So we add that in, and last of all we need to edit the run file to be game server. We save it. So now if I run that, game node cannot find repository game. Where's it at? Load a module. Oh, loader 36. Shouldn't be a problem having this unless oh, hold on. Game server. Put in apostrophes. Maybe that's what it's looking for. Could not find module in game. Okay. Swap that. I don't think it is this, but save it. Close. Run it again. Node did not recognize node. Try this. I guess it'll just have to be one word then. No. Game server, and we'll just put one word then. Make it simple. Yeah, just because I've never really learned how to use bat properly, I don't know how to. I always thought that would work because it works in other languages, but apparently it doesn't work for bat. Now I've made the game client, I want to make the editor client. I'm just going to duplicate it and create to the JS at the end of that. This is where my Windows plays up. Didn't, which is also bad because I think it might do it now. No, apparently it's fine with it. I'll change this to run game and Control V, run editor. I'm just doing the same again. I've got to go into the editor file now, and we're just going to change this from game to editor. I mean, it probably won't matter anyway. But so we've also got another problem because server configurations is also going to be shared right now. I'm going to change this game, and I'm going to control copy, and I'm going to call it editor. And I'm going to turn that to 3001. Just so we can open both of these ports at the same time, if we ever need to. And it doesn't matter. Editor and game server needs to just be game. So now that's done, I'm going to work on this. Actually, we now actually set it up, we might as well check that it works first. Come on. Yeah, this seems to work, and index is swapped out. I'm going to index, I'm going to edit it, and I'm going to just comment out this section. So now that button won't appear. I can refresh it because I'm not actually doing it. And still we have this line still growing, which is normal, which is what we had last time. Now what we've got to add is a new file. And this time we're going to call it and create a scene function or class, which is actually going to act like a class. This is going to store your layers, layers function, so that's going to act. Scene.js, so I'm just going to put it up here. Scene.js, so I'm calling it, and we can actually move all this layer stuff into this scene. And it's not going to be layers, it's going to be stop layers. So we're going to get rid of some others as well, although it can be left for now. So don't need the script area, just need the scene. This.game loop, and window.load, we want to move this outside of there at least, and we're going to move it back into the main file for now. First layer, layer. Difference is I want to make this, and I could do it in the constructor, but this is going to help in the long term, so I need to put function. Now I want to make 5 canvases. I'm going to change them now into layer dash 0, layer dash 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 5 layers starting at 0 to 4. And what each layer is going to be doing is one's going to be an overlay of the other. Layer 0 is going to be the furthest one back, and layer 4 is going to be the closest layer to us. If I just comment, I'm going to use these for, this will be like UI. Background. Just leave this. This one just be and the back area, so that will be like the floor or whatever. So whereas the background would be something like a black image or something like, or a black rectangle, which everything's on top of. The back area is going to be something that's just the floor of the game or something like that. If anything, if the camera sees anything over the edge of the game board, then it would actually just see black. It won't just see be see-through. Or we can change it to whatever we want it to be. This will be like your main sprite area, so that'll be where all your movable stuff will be normally. Although all these can be interacted the same way, it's going to make it a little bit easier to separate them, because we can draw layers and update layers individually rather than updating all layers at the same time. And then this is the foreground. So the setup needs to be for time equals 0, and all we're going to do is loop through each one of them. Starting at 0, we need to did I have new layer, right? Grab a new layer and Instead of it being layer, I'm going to put layer dash plus I, because as I increments through it, I goes from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, which means it's going to also grab layer 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to store them in a new layer, this dot layers, dot push. When you take it, it's not going to be equal, it's going to be a push, because I'm going to add it to the list. Check this, got the right amount of brackets or parentheses, and we also, because this is set up, we don't want it to keep pushing to a list, we have to clear the list first. So if we call this multiple times, that we want to clear it before we actually write it to it again, because it's a list. It will keep incrementing back onto the lists, and you end up with a very long list if you keep calling it. Yeah, what's next? The layers gets called, we need to access the layers, the layer file. So we've got the canvas.get_element. Each one of these is going to have a stop run function. We might alter how this works later on, but for now it's got a run function. And we want to have a start on layer start. We might actually call it on layer run, or on run, on start. We might just call the layer.on. I'm actually going to use the JavaScript notation, which is lowercase for both the functions and methods and variables. So I'm starting that one now. The run function for the whole scene, and this dot on start for the whole scene. I might change this to a for each statement, but that's for another day at least. Get it working first before optimizing it. Start.run. We want to do an on run, and yeah, we've got to make this setup. So this game loop would do nothing at the moment because we don't need this. Each layer would have a list of actors. I think it was what I said. Layers have actors. So start actors equals empty list. So add actor. And we're just going to send it in an actor, but we haven't got any actors or an actor component yet. We need to make one. vector equal function, and in that function we're going to do just realised if I want to use actors or actor and I want to use the coordinate system, I need to have an actual coordinates system to actually bounce off, so I need to have a vector, a 2D vector, vector equal function, and in this vector we're going to have this dot x, this dot y, so that should be good enough vector, and that should denote the place on the actual page that we're looking at, or the where on the layer it's got to put it. This dot position, or yeah, okay, choose position. It's using slightly, it's a bit like Unity's, might be a bit too much like Unity, but I think it should be okay. Vector so now we have two coordinates. Let's just start them off at 0, or we can put x equals 0, y equals 0. So although you can pass in values, if you don't pass a value in, it's going to set it automatically to 0. And we can do some a little more with this later. But for now we just need the x and y coordinates. And this needs dot components or properties equals new just equals a new array. That's going to be empty. Now we need a property to add to it, so I want to have a renderer. Let's renderer square. Let's just call it square for now. Equals function and I actually also want to have a square.js, and I want to extend a property function. Or property class. And this property class has got to have this dot on GUI or something like that. And draw GUI equals function. I'm just making all this up, so I'll go with them. This is also going to have this dot layer. I'm not even going to put it in, so property.js, and so now we've got a lot of things that we've just added. I need to include all these. Actor scene, layer, actor, properties, or property. Vector, and finally we have render square. So it's been drawing anyway. So now you can see we've filled it with a lot of canvases because that's how many we've put in. And that's not particularly helpful because they're not overlaying each other. What we need to do is to simply put it in this inside a div. There is another way of doing it without putting it in a div, but we'll just make it simple. We'll just put the ID of a div, so layer container, and we'll just do some quick CSS and layer container will have position relative inline block, and the canvas itself needs to have position, I believe it's absolute. Could have got these backwards, but I think it's the right way around. Pretty sure absolute locks into wherever the relative is. So if we refresh that, are they all on top of each other or have I completely messed this? It's interesting to put the UI thing there. They are all over lying on top of each other, which is what we want. And that's pretty much all we need for that. What is the thing that we want? Get context. Cannot read property, but get context on layer 4. Interesting. Get context, unless it's not putting the right canvas in. When do we even call that now? So I don't think we even set it up, so whether it's doing something, which it is, isn't it? Yeah. It's doing it's in here. I'm going to make a core folder. Let core equal, these will be all the properties of core. I also want to put the index, or not, the index, the stuff in the index file into here. So now we've got set interval for this, and I'm missing a close bracket, which must mean it's still in there, or it's got lost somewhere. So core.js, and this is what I want to include. Yeah, there it is. And I want to include this at the very start. I'll do it after JS call. So core.js. I didn't even want to put it in here. I wanted to put it in after. Right, yeah, so that would only fire after it's all loaded. I'm going to put resolution in here, so you can change the resolution whenever you want. And because we're declaring it outside of a function, we don't put this, we just put it as is, because all this information is just going to be stored in a core object rather than a class. Oops, 640 is the X, and comma denotes the end of it, and you need that comma is It's very particular about that comma. Screen size we can put as it is here as well. We also want to put, I'm going to put the scene in here as well. So if you ever needed to access the scene, it's going to be more for now. I'll actually put a new scene. We've changed all the properties now, so scene.change properties maybe. This dot change resolution, pause function, and we can use this, repurpose it to get all of these. And we're going to do set attributes to set attribute of width I don't have the comma. Core dot resolution X. Now we've got lots of different files open. It's going to be a little trickier to manage them. Right, as the Y, and we also want to put in the style as, I find it best to always put it in as how it's supposed to be written in the style, and then change the values later. Something like that. Then I want to have it dynamic, so I can have screen core dots screen Y, and screen X. So now if we run this, it should change the resolution. I do core.scene dot change resolution, should now just set it to whatever these values are. If it didn't break, so scene is not defined, core.7. Define it later then, so we'll just put null. do core dot scene equals new scene. We won't change the resolution, we'll change the resolution now. Now we've got a scene, we attach it to the scene, we change the resolution of the scene, and it should work like that. So now I want to also do the frame rate as 24, because I want it on an unusual number. So how this is going to work is putting 24 here, then we need to use I don't know if it's going to let me access it before it should do, but I'm going to work out the refresh rate of 1000 divided by core.frame rate. And we're just going to math.floor it, so we get a nice round number, like a nice number to actually work with. So then I have to put refresh rate as just a refresh rate. So oh, cool. So now it should update every 24 seconds, but I don't want that at the moment because that's going to be hard to debug at the moment. Unexpected identifier scene dots. Oh, yeah, I have not put. See what I mean by the commas. It wants the commas to be perfect. Core before initialization. Exactly what I just said. It won't. It's not going to let you do that. Cool. 1000, and I guess you're going to have to do core.refresh rate. Is going to have to be here. Yeah, everything else should be good. Attribute is not a function. Did I not put it above everything else? Nope, I did not. Not even close. We can remove this. I'll be tested that it still links up. I don't think we did. I'll just check. Message from the server, hello, and hello from client. Yep. Set attribute is not a function in scene 35. Right, because it's lowercase. And cool, game loop is not defined. It's fair enough because I have not put it in. Is it in cool? Yep. So it would be seen. scene.run, so that's going to call this every loop, and this is going to then go to the layer on every loop, which would then go to actors on every loop, and actors on every loop should go to properties on every loop. We haven't even done the render yet. Scene.run, we need to put the setup first. I'll do the setup after. I'll call it setup, yeah. Not that, I don't think it's doing anything on the setup. Start, so on start, where's the... Okay, so let's go to the layers. Is now running actors. As an actor has been added, we should be able to do the actor on start, on run. So 0 I is less than actors.length I plus plus. And then we just got to give it all the actors. Dot putting this dot run loop equals function. So now when this runs, it should go on to run the loop. When this runs, we need to go through each of the properties. This is why everything is so slow. I'm just going to go, properties should be lowercase. Right. Properties now needs to be, okay, well maybe we just do draw UI first. Draw GUI, then we'll do everything else. Okay. If this renderer is taken over from properties, it needs to have property attributes. When the constructor gets called, this should fire. When it fires, it needs to go to property, which is, because we're going to extend this, so we need to have the property, call it with this property constructor, so that should run that. Now to extend the property, we need to use prototyping, so we need to use the render square dot prototype equals objects dot create property prototype. That should work now, and we want to make sure the render square actually has the constructor this constructor rather than having the property constructor, because when you do this it takes on all the attributes of the previous layer, including the constructor, which is this function. We need to make sure, I'm just going to point it back to this, and that should be everything we need. If we start overwriting things now, we can use the draw UI equals function, and now we can do something to do drawing. Property, I also want this to have this.actor. The reason I want it to have the actor is so that we can get the position. So I need to do this. Set up properties, or add property. This function, and this seems very complicated because it's not complicated, it's just laborious. Prop for property, so we're going to do this.properties.push. I'm going to push prop, then prop dot actor equals this. So in property we get the actor and it can be equal to this. For UI should now also, so we can do different things with the loop, so you can also add more functions. And it does so. If you wanted to do something like Unity, you would use update, and then after it you'd use late update, for instance. Although I think it works from this level, so it does different things on the actor. So it does all the updates first, then it does all the late updates for everything else. But other than that, so we've got to draw the UI now. Make sure I'm on the render square. And with this I can put the actual size of the square in. So size equals, I don't know, 10. So that should be 10 pixels. So I picked one of the most annoying ones to draw. So I need to make sure I can get the layer. So render goes up to actor. Layer, this layer, add actor. As we push to actor, make sure we send down the layer with. Obviously, so when you get the layer, you can also get the context. It gets down, passed down to here, so the layer's here. Do we want the layer on the property? Probably not, although it could be useful. I don't see why it needs to be there. So the actor, this dot actor dot layer, the actor's layer, and now we need to do context. And now this is where we do the drawing. If we want to draw the box on the center of wherever the actor's coordinates are, we need to put we need to move to minus distance, or we do minus. We use size as the radius, so minus size. Line 2 plus size, line 2, both lines should be plus, then we need to put minus back into this one, and we end up back where we started, and that should be there. Oh no, I need to copy this one, and we need to do a stroke. So normally I'd already have the drawing functionality in a little class that I can just call automatically, but I don't have this right now. Got to rebuild it all. Hopefully that should work, but we need to use the actor.position. .x. Obviously we can use the minus, it's already there. I'm going to just do this for all the x positions. And we want to keep doing this for all of them. Why did I copy that? So now we've got this property that we can add to our actor, that we can add to our layer. Check all this works, or missing after argument, make sure we haven't made a mistake, which we have. It's on layer row 9 apparently. Right, because I haven't put the plus signs yet. Just to make it look nice, I'll put them in line with actor is not defined on layer 8, layer line 8. Add actor, no function. Right, is this going to work now? No error. Oh. This dot start is not a function. I've seen at 12. Okay. Start. This dot start. Right, because it's lowercase. Actor is not defined. 20. What layer? 21 actors. This dot actors. This is a lot of what programming is. Just finding out where you made mistakes. You good now? Looks like it. So I'm going to make a new function which is going to be temporary setup. And we can use this to do anything that I'm going to test. So right now if we start it up again, we now don't have the line going across, so we need to make sure we can actually draw something to it again. I'm going to start with again that renderer that we started with. Renderer, it's called property equals new render square. Hopefully I spelled everything right. No, I don't look like an idiot. But just going to call them all underscore whatever the type they are. So there. And we shouldn't have to put the layer in. Now in the actor we want to add the property, so add property I'm going to put the property of this. If I look in here, it should have the add property, which is capitalized, which we don't want. So I want to keep it consistent. Right, it says they're both the same. And they should be both the same. So to add the actor, we need the layer. We're going to add actor. But I don't want to add it directly, so I'm going to add it through the scene. Equals function. This is running a lot longer than I thought it would take. Actor, we need to check the actor in, as well as a layer number. And we're just going to go to this layer using the layer number, and we're just going to add actor. We're just going to pass down the actor. We should then add it to this, add it to the list, so it should then be drawing it. What I need to do now is call core.scene dot add actor, and then we just get our actor that we've just made, and we're going to pass it down into it. Now we should start it. Cannot read property of add actor on line 17. Line 17 is this dot layers dot add. So has it not done all this yet? Oh, it's pushed all the... Oh no, it is going to a layer. Grabbing it as one. Good. Add active. Add active. Cannot read property of undefined on active, which is scene set. I don't think I passed in a layer number. Seeing as it is layer 2 that I need to pass it into, I will pass it into layer 2. Actor is not defined. on line 23. Actually going to turn this frame rate down to 1. Otherwise you're just going to get this number getting bigger and bigger and bigger. On 23 of layers, actors is not defined. 23, because it's this dot actors. Run loop is not the function. 23 of layers. Run loop is not a function of actors apparently. Which is actor.push. So it should be over this type. This dot loop and this dot run loop, and they are the same words. The good thing about this console is you can actually look at everything. So if we do core.c, we just type it out and we can have a look at everything in here, so including the layers. So layers.actors, so try to add it to layer 2, actors is 1. So as actors is added through this actors.push, this .layer. Oh, see actors.layer. Actor.layer. Oh, this is a array, not a type. Refresh, and it's still wrong, so actor.loop properties is not defined on actor 15. How many times are we going to get this? And we've done the same again. Properties not defined on line 15. And it's this dot properties. You can see there's a lot of mistakes I'm going to make. I'm just going to be just the same thing over and over again. Size is not defined. Obviously it's going to be this dot, isn't it? Yep. And we now have a little box in the corner. So I was talking about what you can do with C in here. We can do layers.2 dot actors.0 dot position equal dot x equals 30, and watch what happens. Here we can do y as 70, and now it's down to here. So now we have a positioning system that we can use, but obviously we need to do something extra with the canvas to get rid of the previous, because it's still drawing the previous squares even though we've moved the object. Now we need to just do on C this dot clear, function, and I'm going to just tell it to do it on all layers. Step clear, so equals function. The reason I'm going to do this is because later on I'm going to add this dot clear function on here so that you can set it whether or not you want to clear this actual layer. Now all I've got to do is grab this dot context, clear rect 0,0 to start the box. This dot canvas dot width, this dot canvas height, and now if I call this on the refresher, I want to call it before it, because if I call it after it, it just means it'll be drawing and then deleting immediately, and then it will wait, and then it will. So we want to do it after the wait, so you've got the longest period of time of seeing. I'm going to clear it first, and then rule. Is it not clearing? Pretty sure this is a clear. It is saved. Just going for all the layers. Okay, so let's just check. Interesting. So it's getting rid of it, and then it's just all drawing it back. What's going on with that? I'll look into that for next time. In theory this should work, it just clear doesn't seem to be doing what I think it should be doing, so we could just draw a white box around it and just say it's done for now. Just so we can see he's actually doing something. Which means I'm going to just steal this. And borrow it for a second. hope I haven't got to do the thing where I set it to a new canvas every time. Which probably is going to be the case. Let's just do canvas.width, canvas.height, canvas.height, and back to 0, 0, and so if I do begin path, what do the fill? Fill style, which is just going to draw it into, just going to draw a white box, and then all we've got to do now is this dot close path, and then we'll put it. It's probably going to come up with an error. Yep, begin path is not a function. So I'm pretty sure it is. Context. Context.fill style. Let's try equals. And then we'll just do context.fill or something like that. Well, at least now it's actually moving it, even if I'm doing it in a very strange way. And that'll be all for today.